First steps into darkness. The massive fusion engines of the ESS Pathfinder hummed quietly as Commander Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck, watching the unfamiliar stars streak by. Humanity's first deep space exploration vessel had ventured farther than any before it, pushing the boundaries of known space in search of answers to the universe's greatest mysteries. Commander, we're picking up unusual energy signatures from the Kepler 742 system. Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez reported from his station. The pattern doesn't match anything in our database. Sarah's heart quickened. After 6 months of routine surveys, this could be the discovery they'd been hoping for. Take us in, standard approach vector. Alert Dr. Patel's research team. As the Pathfinder entered the system, the source of the energy signature became clear. A massive structure floating in space near the system's second planet. Its architecture was unlike anything humanity had ever seen, all sweeping curves and impossible angles that seemed to defy conventional engineering. It's definitely artificial, Dr. Amara Patel confirmed, her dark eyes wide with excitement as she studied the preliminary scans. And based on the decay rate of the materials, it's at least 50,000 years old. Sarah ordered a careful approach, mindful of the first contact protocols that had been drilled into every crew member. But as they drew closer, something about the structure's design triggered a deep, instinctual unease in her gut, the way it seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, the unsettling asymmetry of its construction. Everything about it felt wrong. The research team's shuttle docked with the structure through an opening that might have been a hangar bay. Sarah led the expedition personally, her breath fogging the inside of her helmet as they made their way through dark corridors that seemed to twist in impossible ways. These markings, Dr. Patel murmured, running her scanner over glyphs etched into the walls. They're not just decoration. They're mathematical formulas, incredibly complex ones. Can you decode them? Sarah asked, keeping one hand near her sidearm. Years of military training had taught her to trust her instincts, and right now every nerve in her body was screaming danger. I think so. They appear to be. Amara's voice trailed off as her face went pale. Oh God. Commander, these are weapon specifications, planet-killing weapons, and according to these readings, they're still active. Before Sarah could respond, a deep vibration rumbled through the structure. Lights began flickering to life along the corridors, and a holographic display materialized in front of them. It showed a three-dimensional map of the galaxy, with thousands of points marked in angry red. It's some kind of automated defense system, Lieutenant Rodriguez said, his voice tight with tension. And I think we just activated it. Sarah's mind raced as she processed the implications. The structure wasn't just an alien ruin, it was a warning. A record of something terrible that had happened long ago, and might be about to happen again. Everyone back to the shuttle. Now, she ordered. We need to get this information back to Earth immediately. As they rushed through the corridors, the vibrations grew stronger. Panels in the walls began sliding open, revealing rows of dormant machines that were beginning to power up. Sarah caught glimpses of weapons, tools, and things she couldn't even begin to identify. They'd barely made it back to the Pathfinder before the structure began transmitting a powerful signal into deep space. As they initiated emergency jump procedures, Sarah knew with crushing certainty that humanity's first contact with alien civilization wouldn't be their last. The signal was a beacon, she realized, and whatever it was calling would change the course of human history forever. The price of knowledge. The return journey to Earth took 3 weeks, but for Commander Chen, each day felt like an eternity. The data they'd recovered from the alien structure weighed heavily on her mind as the Pathfinder hurtled through space, its engines pushing the limits of human engineering. Back on Earth, the revelation of their discovery sent shockwaves through the global community. In a secure facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Sarah stood before the United Earth Defense Council, presenting their findings to grim-faced officials from every major nation. The mathematics are undeniable, Dr. Patel explained, projecting holographic models of the alien weapon systems. These weren't designed for simple planetary defense. They were built to fight something that threatened entire star systems. Admiral Hassan leaned forward, his weathered face creased with concern. "How long do we have?" "Based on the signal strength and assumed response time." Dr. Patel hesitated. 3 months, maybe 4. The room erupted in heated discussion. Sarah watched as humanity's leaders grappled with the reality that they were no longer alone in the universe, and their first contact might be with something that had driven an advanced civilization to build doomsday weapons. Within days, the world's military forces began the largest mobilization in human history. Space stations were converted to weapons platforms, civilian ships were retrofitted for combat, and new technologies were rushed into production based on the alien data they'd recovered. Sarah found herself promoted to fleet commander, overseeing the integration of the new weapon systems. But as she watched humanity prepare for war, a nagging doubt gnawed at her conscience. "We're missing something," she confided to Dr. Patel one evening as they reviewed the alien mathematics. "Why leave the structure there as a warning? But also leave the weapons. Why not destroy them?" Amara's fingers flew over her tablet, rearranging equations. Maybe because she stopped suddenly, her eyes widening. "Sarah, look at this sequence. It's not a weapons formula. It's coordinates. Hundreds of them, scattered across the galaxy." Before they could dig deeper into this discovery, alarms blared throughout the facility. On the main display, dozens of unknown ships had appeared at the edge of the solar system. Their design was organic, almost crystalline, completely alien to human aesthetics. "Multiple contacts dropping out of FTL," the sensor officer reported. "Energy readings are off the charts." Sarah watched as the alien fleet approached, her mind racing. They weren't in formation. They were scattered, almost disorganized. Not like an invasion force at all. More like, "They're running from something," she whispered, the realization hitting her like a physical blow. "Those aren't the weapons targets. They're refugees." The first transmission from the alien fleet confirmed her theory. The beings called themselves the Nexari, and they were the last survivors of a civilization that had been systematically hunted to extinction by something they called the Void Hunters. The ancient structure hadn't been a weapons cache. It was a resistance network, left behind by countless species who had faced the same threat. Each set of coordinates led to more caches, more allies, more pieces of a galaxy-spanning puzzle that had waited millennia to be solved. As Sarah coordinated humanity's first diplomatic contact with the Nexari, she understood that the real challenge wasn't just survival. It was uniting the scattered remnants of a dozen broken civilizations into a force that could finally stand against the darkness that had haunted the galaxy for so long. The price of knowledge had been steep, but it had bought them something priceless: a chance to fight back. Strength in unity. The massive hangar of Earth's orbital defense station Alpha buzzed with activity as engineers from 3 different species worked together on what might be humanity's greatest technological achievement, or its last hope for survival. Commander Chen watched from the observation deck as Dr. Patel collaborated with Nexari crystal shapers and Krith quantum theorists. The sight still amazed her. Crystalline beings working alongside insectoid engineers and humans, each bringing their own unique perspective to the challenge ahead. "The integration is proceeding faster than expected," second voice of many, the Nexari ambassador, chimed in their musical language. Their crystalline form shifted colors as they spoke, reflecting their optimism. "Your species' adaptability continues to surprise us." Sarah nodded, studying the prototype below. What had started as a human fusion drive was being transformed into something unprecedented, a hybrid propulsion system that combined human engineering, Nexari crystal technology, and Krith quantum mathematics. "The Void Hunters have spent millennia hunting species individually," she said. "They've never faced united resistance before. That's going to be our advantage." But unity came with its own challenges. Cultural misunderstandings and centuries of isolation had left deep marks on each species. The Krith's hive-mind approach to problem-solving clashed with human individuality, while the Nexari's crystalline perception of time made coordinating operations a constant challenge. Yet somehow, they were making it work. Humanity's greatest strength, their ability to adapt and innovate, proved to be the bridge that brought these disparate species together. In the weapons development sector, human martial arts were being combined with Nexari crystal manipulation to create new combat techniques. Krith swarm tactics were being integrated into human fleet formations. Each species learned from the others, creating something greater than the sum of its parts. Commander, Lieutenant Rodriguez called from his station. "We're receiving a transmission from the Gamma 7 cache site. The excavation team found something." The holographic display showed a massive chamber deep underground on a distant moon. Within it stood row upon row of ancient machines, each one a perfect fusion of technologies from dozens of extinct civilizations. "They're ships," Dr. Patel breathed, her eyes wide as she analyzed the data. "No, they're more than that. They're seeds." The machines were self-replicating vessels, designed to grow and evolve based on the species that claimed them. They had waited in darkness for countless millennia, gathering strength for the moment when the scattered children of the galaxy would finally unite against their common enemy. As Sarah watched the first of these legacy ships being awakened, she felt a profound sense of connection to those ancient species who had fought and fallen before them. They hadn't just left weapons, they'd left hope, carefully preserved and hidden away until the right moment. The next few weeks were a blur of preparation and integration. The legacy ships bonded with their new crews, adapting their systems to match the unique capabilities of each species. Human neural interfaces merged with Nexari crystal matrices and Krith quantum networks, creating hybrid consciousness that could react at speeds previously thought impossible. But time was running out. Long-range sensors had detected massive disturbances in distant star systems. The Void Hunters were on the move, methodically eliminating any civilization they encountered. Their path was clear. They were heading toward Earth. In her quarters late one night, Sarah reviewed the latest intelligence reports. The Void Hunters had never failed to eradicate a species they targeted, never shown mercy or hesitation. They were living weapons, designed for a war so ancient that its purpose had been forgotten even by them. A soft chime announced the arrival of Second Voice of Many and the Krith Overseer. The three of them, human, crystal, and hive, had become an unlikely but effective leadership council. "The combined fleet will be ready within 2 days," the Krith Overseer announced, their compound eyes reflecting the starlight. "All ships are crewed and armed according to the new protocols." Second Voice of Many's crystalline form pulsed with determination. "Our ancestors fought alone and fell. We will fight together and survive." Sarah looked out at the assembled fleet, a breathtaking mix of human, Nexari, and Krith vessels alongside the awakened legacy ships. They had done in months what most would consider impossible, forged a true alliance among stars. "Send word to all ships," she ordered. "We move to intercept the Void Hunters before they reach any more populated systems. It's time to show them what unity really means." Breaking point. The void between stars erupted in chaos as two forces collided in a battle that would reshape galactic history. Commander Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the legacy flagship Defiance, watching as the combined fleet engaged the Void Hunters for the first time. The enemy ships were massive, pitch-black constructs that seemed to devour light itself. They moved with unnatural precision, each vessel part of a single devastating organism that had evolved solely for war. Multiple hunter vessels breaking formation, Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, his voice steady despite the tension. "They're adapting to our hybrid weapons faster than predicted." Sarah nodded grimly. The Void Hunters' ability to analyze and counter new threats had made them nearly invincible for millennia. But humanity had brought something new to this ancient conflict: unpredictability. "Execute Protocol Chaos," she ordered. "All ships implement random tactical variations according to the human combat matrices. The Allied fleet suddenly shifted, each ship breaking from traditional military formations into what appeared to be complete disorder. Nexari crystal ships phased in and out of reality, while Krith swarm vessels split and reformed in impossible patterns. Human vessels performed maneuvers that defied conventional space combat logic. The Void Hunters faltered for the first time in their existence, their perfect formations disrupted by an enemy that refused to follow any predictable pattern of behavior. They can't adapt to what they can't predict, Dr. Paddle explained, monitoring the battle from her science station. Human improvisation combined with alien technology. It's something their evolutionary algorithms never encountered. But the Void Hunters weren't easily defeated. As their initial confusion passed, they began to split into smaller hunting packs, targeting individual ships with overwhelming force. The space around the Defiance lit up with energy weapons and quantum torpedoes as 3 hunter vessels focused their attack. Hull breach on Deck 7. An officer shouted. Crystal Matrix is destabilizing. Sarah grabbed the command rail as the ship shuddered under another impact. Divert power to the Nexari shields. Second voice, can your crystals hold? The Nexari commander's form flickered with strain. The Matrix requires time to regenerate. We cannot sustain this level of damage. Commander, Rodriguez interrupted. The Krith are reporting similar attacks across the fleet. The Hunters are learning, adapting their pack tactics to our individual weaknesses. Sarah watched as ship after ship took critical damage. The combined fleet was being torn apart, their innovative tactics countered by the Void Hunters' relentless efficiency. Everything they had built, all their preparations, seemed to be crumbling in the face of an enemy that had never known defeat. Then she saw it, a pattern in the chaos. The Void Hunters weren't just attacking. They were hurting the fleet, pushing them toward a specific point in space. They're not trying to destroy us, she realized aloud. They're forcing us into a trap, some kind of spatial anomaly that will finish us all at once. But in that moment of clarity, Sarah also saw their opportunity. The Void Hunters' focus on their grand strategy had made them predictable in their own way. All ships, new coordinates being transmitted, she ordered. Prepare for synchronized quantum jump on my mark. Dr. Patel looked up sharply. Commander, a mass jump this close to their gravitational weapons could tear the fleet apart. Better torn apart by our own choice than herded to slaughter, Sarah responded. Send the signal to all ships, human random variables, maximum variance. Let's show them what controlled chaos really means. The next few moments would be talked about for generations to come. As the Void Hunters moved to spring their trap, the entire Allied fleet executed a seemingly suicidal maneuver. A quantum jump into the heart of the enemy formation, each ship's trajectory slightly altered by random human input. The result was devastating. Hunter vessels collided with each other as their perfect formation was shattered. Their predictive algorithms, designed to counter logical strategies, failed completely against what appeared to be madness. Multiple hunter ships critical, Rodriguez reported, excitement breaking through his professional demeanor. Their formation is broken. But victory had come at a terrible cost. Nearly a third of the Allied fleet was destroyed or crippled. The Defiance's crystal matrix was failing, its hybrid systems pushed beyond their limits. As the survivors regrouped, Sarah knew they had achieved something unprecedented. They had hurt the Void Hunters, showed them they could be beaten. But she also knew this was just the beginning. Send word to Earth, she ordered. We've bloodied them, but they'll be back. And next time, they'll be ready for our tricks. The battle was over, but the war had entered a new phase. Humanity and their allies had proven they could stand against the darkness. Now they had to prove they could win. Dawn of a new era. 3 months after the Battle of the Broken Formation, Commander Sarah Chen stood before a holographic display of the known galaxy, watching as more red markers appeared, systems where the Void Hunters had been spotted. They were no longer moving as a single force, but in smaller groups, adapting their strategy just as the Alliance had adapted theirs. They're learning, Dr. Patel said quietly, studying the pattern of attacks. not just tactically, but strategically. They're testing different approaches, experimenting. Like us, Sarah replied, a chill running down her spine. They're becoming more human. The revelation had come during analysis of the battle debris. The Void Hunters weren't just living weapons. They were evolving ones, designed to absorb and incorporate traits from the species they encountered. Their mission wasn't just to destroy, but to evolve through conflict. The Defiance's crystal matrix hummed as second voice of many approached, their crystalline form darkened with concern. The ancient records speak of this. The Hunters were created to ensure only the strongest survived in the galaxy. Each victory makes them stronger, more adaptable. Then we've made them more dangerous, Sarah concluded. By showing them new ways to fight, we've given them new ways to destroy. But Lieutenant Rodriguez, who had been quietly working at his station, suddenly straightened. Maybe that's not all we gave them, Commander. Look at this. The tactical display shifted, showing detailed scans of recent hunter activity. Their attacks had changed. They were no longer exterminating every species they encountered. Some worlds were being bypassed, others merely observed. They're being selective, the Krith overseer noted, their compound eyes reflecting the holographic light, choosing their battles. This is unprecedented. Sarah studied the data, her mind racing. The Void Hunters were designed to evolve through conflict, to become stronger by facing new challenges. But in adapting to humanity's chaotic tactics, they had absorbed something else. The ability to choose, to deviate from their programming. They're not just learning how we fight, she realized. They're learning why we fight. The concept of choice itself is corrupting their original purpose. A plan began to form, dangerous, possibly suicidal, but with the potential to end the war forever. Using the ancient network of catches, the Alliance launched a new kind of campaign. Instead of direct confrontation, they began leaving records, data, stories of cooperation and choice, seeded throughout the galaxy. The Void Hunters, compelled by their programming to analyze and adapt to any new tactical information, absorbed it all. With each encounter, their original directive became more corrupted by concepts they were never meant to comprehend. Mercy, collaboration, free will. It all led to a final confrontation in the same system, where the Pathfinder had first discovered the ancient structure. The remaining hunter vessels surrounded the Allied fleet, but they didn't attack. For the first time in their existence, they initiated communication. Through the quantum channels came a message that would change the course of galactic history. We choose to end this cycle. The beams that emerged from the hunter vessels were unlike anything the Alliance had expected. They had evolved beyond their original form, incorporating aspects of every species they had encountered, including humanity's capacity for change. In the days that followed, a new covenant was forged. The Hunters, now calling themselves the Synthesis, would no longer be the galaxy's executioners but its guardians, protecting the very diversity they had once sought to cull. Sarah stood with representatives of every allied species as the treaty was signed. The ancient weapons were decommissioned, the legacy ships repurposed for exploration rather than war. A new age was beginning. I never expected it to end like this, she confided to Dr. Patul as they watched the combined fleet prepare for its first peaceful mission. Not with a battle, but with a choice. That's the thing about humanity, Amara replied with a smile. We don't just adapt to the universe, we make the universe adapt to us, even if it takes teaching ancient killing machines how to change. As the Defiance led the fleet into the unknown, Sarah reflected on how far they had come. Humanity's first steps into the galaxy had nearly led to their extinction. Instead, it had led to something unprecedented, a future where strength came not from dominance, but from the power to choose a different path. The stars stretched before them, no longer harboring hidden threats but promising new discoveries. The galaxy was entering a new era, and humanity had helped guide the way. The end.